Hi, I'm doing another not so fancy video without an introduction with music, without any type of script. The title of this video is Tell Me Why You Are So Mad at This Man. Help me to understand. See, I'm not going to do a poetry reading, but it does kind of sound poetic in the beginning. But help me to understand why you are so mad at this man. This is about those women who have not been selective about who they give their bodies to. They date a guy, they don't get to know him, and then they get pregnant by him and have a child. And if you ask them about the man who wants to be in the life of their child or children, these women will tell you that he is a no good ass man or maybe a no good ass nigga. These fathers want to be there for their children, but they choose not to be with the mother because, first of all, they don't have any feeling for that mother, or that mother has made that man distance himself from her because she is so verbally abusive and sometimes physically abusive. Why are you so mad at this man? Help me to understand. You chose to have him in your life, whether it was for a few years or a few moments. You chose him, and he didn't give you what you wanted because you just were not that woman for him. He tried to be a good man, many of them, and he had to walk away from you, but he didn't walk away from his children. And now you're upset because you're not the woman in his life. Yet you were abusive. You were bitter. You continue to be angry towards him. But in the end, when you finally get into some counseling, you realize that you have resentment towards your father for not being there. And you're taking it out on the father of your children. Misdirected anger. Women who are like this must take responsibility for their choices. They must take responsibility for their behaviors. They must take responsibility for their habits. I'll tell you whether you like it or not. If you have multiple children from multiple relationships, men look at this and they are knowing what type of woman they want in their lives for the rest of their life. Okay. And they do judge you. As so women who haven't been through your situation, they will judge you too. It says a lot about a woman who's never been married and has children from multiple relationships, about her level of maturity, commitment, and consistency. It may not seem fair to you, but in all fairness, you made these choices that led to what you may consider his mistakes. More women need to identify their behaviors that have led to their unhappiness. And they don't. Instead, they remain the victims. Instead, they remain the martyrs in their own stories. Change the narrative. Accept your responsibilities. You are holding yourself victim to something that you have not held yourself accountable for. You're not a child. You're not helpless. You willingly gave yourself over to more than one man to have a child with. You willingly made these choices, and now you are resentful towards your children's fathers. Yeah, it makes no sense. Make it make sense. Because fortunately, many have chosen men who want to be involved with their children. They're willing to accept that responsibility, whether they're put onto child support or not. And these women will do everything in their power to keep these men away from their children. They use their children as pawns in their mental game. They're manipulative, narcissistic, selfish. They're unhealthy, unstable, uncommitted, and even inconsistent. It says a lot about your mental health. And you're mad that a man doesn't want to marry you. you're upset about quality men who refuse to get into a serious relationship with you. They don't take you seriously because you did not take your sexual behaviors seriously. They don't take you seriously because you were not selective about who you gave your body to. You were not selective about who you allowed to nut inside of you. Yes, you were judged. It may not seem fair, but life isn't fair. Life isn't fair to those who are unfair to themselves. Why do you make yourself the martyr? You narrate a story where you are the victim when you willingly and knowingly lay down with the fathers of your children. You're not even considered in many of their eyes as wifey material. And you're hurt by that. And you take it out on them. You even take it out on your children. And you don't understand why men don't want you. First of all, a man does not want to be around a woman that is uncommitted to herself. You've got to give yourself the respect before you expect any other man to give it to you. Your children deserve better, and you deserve better. But there are some choices in life that once you make them, you will never be able to undo them. You've got to be selective about who you give your body to. You can't give your body to every and anyone. That's the best gift you've got. And yet, because you were irresponsible, you're mad at everybody that tries to tell you you need to hold yourself accountable. Most of these women who are spiteful and vindictive seem to find men who love being fathers, who love to be nurturing to their seeds. I call them very fortunate women. And yet, they're hateful. They spew nothing but ugliness toward these men who are like, I may not be with you, but I will always be there for my children or child. I met a woman who had 10 children by 10 different men. And I thought she had a mental health issue because of that. Let me drink my water. My throat got a little parched. How do you feel okay with that? How do you lay with that many men unprotected and allow yourself to get pregnant each and every time and allow yourself to be the victim? You're not the victim. You're a grown-ass woman who made irresponsible decisions. And yes, women who've been married, they do have an upper hand on you, even if they've been divorced. Because a man is reading that that woman is committed. She's not unstable. She has a sense of honor. She has values. She takes pride in herself. And when you show yourself to be a woman with children from various relationships, they don't see it that way. They don't see that you have pride in yourself. They don't see that you are committed to being good towards you. And it is insulting. It does make you feel bad. But it also means that there are parts of yourself you need to work on, and you are not a victim. There are so many men that are out there hurting because they want to be with their children, but they don't want to be with the mother. Especially when the two of you were just fooling around and you didn't really get a chance, give yourself a chance to know that man, and he didn't really get a chance to know you. It was one night stand. And both parties are responsible for the child coming into the world. Both of them are responsible for the conception of that child. But your behavior to be negative toward his fatherhood, his parentage, that's your choice. When we get down to the root of the matter, these women feel neglected, and they feel neglected by their fathers. They feel neglected by the men in their lives. They haven't felt safe around any man in their life. So what they do is take it out on the biological fathers of their children. It's not a good thing, especially if they've had male children, if they've had sons. They eventually take the anger out on them. If they have daughters, when they mature into their bodies, begin to go through puberty, they start taking it out on them. Some mothers don't even wait that long. They begin to insult their daughters and their sons while they're still babies, toddlers, young kids, calling them out of their names, screaming at them in front of people, because they hold anger towards the biological father when in truth they hold anger towards their own fathers. And it has nothing to do with the children. So what they do is they provide a legacy towards their children of pain, of needing therapy. They give them a legacy of another fatherless household when those children have children. I've been criticized by women who've had very negative relationships with their biological fathers for allowing my sons to even have a relationship with their father. It didn't make any sense to me until I realized these women didn't have their fathers around. And I have sons, and even after we divorced, I made sure that they stayed involved in their lives. I was married and divorced twice, but I never kept the fathers away from their seeds. Never. It never even entered my mind. So many of our women need help. They're out there causing damage. The word for God upon the lips or the tongue of a child is mother, mom, umi, mama, mommy. You are God first in their eyes. You are unbeatable. You're perfect. So when you feed this toxicity to them, it's showing them in the beginning how to form a relationship with God. And here you are, a toxic mother, a narcissistic mother, an abusive mother, who really needs to step into her own awareness of what she's doing to her seeds and what she's doing to herself. Fix that. No matter how much you do not want to bear witness to the woman in your mirror, you must. You must heal yourself. Heal all parts of yourself. Learn to love yourself. Give yourself the forgiveness that is needed. Get the help that you need, whether it's a mentor, whether it's going to counseling, whether it's group therapy. Get it. Fix it. You cannot elevate in your life until you fix that. Yes, you're capable of undoing the damage. You must hold yourself accountable for the choices you made. You must make yourself responsible for your bitterness. Something traumatic may have happened in your life. Your father may not have been around. Your mother may not have been around. As an adult, you have options to nurture that hurt child. But what you don't have the right to do is hurt your children and hurt the fathers that want to be in their lives. You cannot have baby number one and not learn a lesson if you conceived out of wedlock, or if you conceived in a relationship that wasn't healthy. But once you get to child number 2, 3, 4, and 5, now it's your fault that you're being foolish. Stop being that bitter woman. Stop playing the fool, because you know. Heal yourself. Be the healer in your family. Stop hurting your children and stop hurting their fathers. There are men out there who want to just be a good daddy. And just because he doesn't want to be with you doesn't mean that he should not be there for his children. I hope this was a benefit to someone out there. This is Afro Kid 2. Hoping that you've gotten a lesson from what I've said. Peace.